Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias. Well, I have a new large toothpick, and it's also in tortoiseshell, which was pretty cool. But what really intrigued me and got me to buy this knife was that the person selling it thought that it might have been made by the Camillus Cutlery Company. And looking at it online, I thought, you know what, he might very well be correct. This might be an old Camillus Switchback. Now, the reason you can't say that for sure is because the tag stamp on the knife just stamps made in USA. And obviously, if it were a Camillus brand knife, it would be stamped Camillus Cutlery Company. But I suspect this is a Camillus made switchback or toothpick. Camillus used the term switchback for their powder horn knives up until the at least the 1940s, possibly even the early 1950s. Sometime around that time, they started referring to the plain toothpick knife or the plain powder horn as a fruit sampler and also a fish knife, even though it did not have the fish scaler on the back here. We'll be talking about these two knives in a little bit and these knives in just a second. In any case, this knife looks very much like what the old Camillus No. 4 pattern switchback looked like. I'm not sure why they settled on the name switchback other than it being a very slender frame. And a switch is known to be slender and very flexible. Or it might have been switchback as a term, which is basically a path cut up the side of a mountain, so who knows. I do know that they were also called a Dixie switch and a few other names. So, but Camillus settled on switchback. There is no lock on it or anything like that. But what made me think that this is the old Camillus No. 4 pattern knife, possibly made for a store or something, is the shape of the handle and the shape of the blade. And I have a few other Camillus knives, but not a switchback. I have the fish knife and the Army Air Force survival knife, which was also a fish knife. But this is the more modern version of a toothpick, and Camillus actually referred to this as a toothpick, but it also came out much later in the 1990s and stuff, and it's built on a new frame, a much heavier frame, and it has a different blade shape. And this is in the classic the Camillus Classic Cartridge series. This is the 7mm Mauser, and you can see the distinct difference between the two knives. Among other things, the placement of the nail nick, the shape of the clip blade, and so on and so forth, and also the slimness of the handle and the different sizes in the powder horns. In fact, this knife is much closer to what you find in the Camillus lineup, in the Rough Rider lineup, and also in the Marbles lineup of large toothpicks. They actually seem to be patterned off of the last Camillus toothpicks that were made. This is the Marbles tortoiseshell. The other tortoiseshell I have is a Remington tortoiseshell, but this was also made by Camillus. And you can see distinctly that it was made by Camillus. And then this is the other, this is the barn door hinge toothpick that was made, it's the Winchester barn door hinge toothpick, very similar to the Case barn door hinge toothpick, and both of those were suspected of being made by Queen. So there's a lot of incestuous behavior between knife manufacturers, let's just put it that way. In any case, the reason I believe this is a No. 4 Camillus switchback is because of these two knives here, which are the number 5 fish knife and the Army Air Force knife. And let's open up the Army Air Force knife right away. And you, first of all, you can see, notice the size of the bolsters. Now the bolsters are about the same size. You can forget about the little clevis up here. That was not on all of the early fish knives by Camillus. But look at the blade here. This would have a liner lock. Someone broke out the liner lock on there. But let's open this blade now. And you can see the blade shape is much closer to the same. You can see the placement of the nail nick, the kick of the blade, the profiles of the blades are nearly identical. You have this one is missing a bit of the recurve, but the reason you're missing some of the recurve is because the blade has been sharpened so much. This blade has not been sharpened at all. You can see that little bit of a recurve going on with the blade. And if you look at the Fisherman's Luck now, and we open it up, the difference you have here is you have the addition of a cap lifter there, but blade wise, the shape is the same, the placement of the nail nick is the same. Everything about this knife is screaming, and this is the number 5, which is what their fishing knife became. But the bolsters are about the same. Everything about them is very similar to what the old Camillus Switchback was. So I have a feeling that this is indeed made by Camillus and is patterned off of their early number 4 Switchbacks. And so it's pretty cool. I'm kind of happy to have it in the collection now. Still looking for one that actually says Camillus Cutlery Company. I don't care if it's a 3-line or 4-line. I just want a proper Camillus Switchback. And I don't know how easy that's going to be, especially if I can find it with the correct tang stamp and everything else, and also in good shape. So I think this might be the best I'm going to get unless I become very fortunate. I have been looking for a Camillus Switchback with the proper tang stamp for a good 10 years and just have not seen it. I can find the various fish knives with the scaler on it, but not the plain blade like you have here. And it seemed like in the 1950s or so, this was going in and out of the catalog and not always being called a switchback, and often just being sold as either a fruit sampler or a fish knife in the catalog. But also the number 4 always seemed to be listed as unavailable in the catalog. So it was definitely being phased out. And I think what they were doing is using the existing stock of these knives, stamping it with Made in USA on the tang, and using it to fill various contracted orders for like department stores and any other kind of thing, like an outdoor fitter or something like that. That's probably what was going on with the Camillus number 4 Switchback. It was just being phased out. So to find one, even with Made in USA on it, it seems a little tricky these days. You will find the old Kent knives, but most of the Kent knives are also fish knives with a scaler. So at this point, this is the closest I could find for an actual Camillus number 4 pattern switchback. If I can ever find a proper one, that'll be great. But this one, not bad. And I guess it's a bonus that it's also in tortoiseshell. In any case, stick around. I'll do some slides comparing these, and talk to you again soon. let me take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with the Pies. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.